Okay guys, now we have section 3, and luckily this section 3 does not contain multiple choice questions. Otherwise, section 3 is notorious for 3 type of questions. Number 1, single multiple choice. Number 2, double multiple choice. Number 3, matching. We do have matching in this section, but we don't have multiple choice. So if you are lucky, this will happen with you as well. Now, questions 21 to 24. Complete the table below. Write one word only. Are we supposed to use any number? No, one word only. Okay. Presentation on film adaptations of Shakespeare's plays. What is film adaptation? When a play is recorded into a movie. That is what we call film adaptations of Shakespeare's plays. Like they converted Shakespeare's novels or plays into movies. Okay, one good example of that is Romeo and Juliet. That is Shakespeare's play, so they adapted it into a movie, right? So, presentation on film adaptations of Shakespeare's plays. Now, you can see this table contains 2 parts. On the left column, we have stages of presentation. Stages of presentation like introduction, body, and all that. On the right side, work still to be done. Work still to be done means something they have not done yet. Question number 21. Introduce Gentile's book containing a dash of adaptations. Now, whenever they give you sentence completion in part 3 or part 4, whatever is written before the blank or after the blank, you need to see what can be the synonym of that. And right after that, they will speak the answer. Please underline containing. Containing. So for containing, they can use the word come up, and dash of adaptations. Now containing a dash of adaptations. Just focus that.
You will hear 2 students, Katie and Joe, discussing a presentation in their film studies course.
Joe, you know I'm giving a presentation in our film studies class next week.
Yes.
Well, could we discuss it? I could do with getting someone else's opinion.
Of course, Katie. What are you going to talk about?
It's about film adaptations of Shakespeare's plays. I've got very interested in all the different approaches that film directors take.
Uh-huh.
So I thought I'd start with Giannetti, who's a professor of film and literature. And in one of his books, he came up with a straightforward classification of film adaptations based on how faithful they are to the original plays and novels.
Right.
Classification of film adaptations. In one of his books, he came up. In one of his books, he came up means book containing a. In one of his books, he came up in the book means book containing a, and answer is classification. And they use the word classification of film adaptations. So it's the same thing. Answer is classification. Very good. And it will be singular. You know why singular? Because they use the word a, classification of adaptations. Let's go on. Question number 22. Ask class to suggest. Now just listen. They're going to ask the class to suggest. For suggest, they can use any other word. For example, we'll ask the class for their recommendations. We'll ask them to recommend, or we'll ask them to tell us. Ask the class to recommend the dash adaptations. Dash adaptations means type of adaptations. For example, we'll ask the class to suggest us some good adaptations. Answer is good. We'll ask the class to recommend us some bad adaptations. So answer will be bad. Let's see.
I thought that next I'd ask the class to come up with the worst examples of Shakespeare adaptations that they've seen, and to say why.
Worst examples of Shakespeare's adaptations. Now what do? They mix up some other words as well. Worst examples of Shakespeare's adaptations means, and she said we'll ask the class to suggest. Let's listen to this wording again.
I thought that next I'd ask the class to come up with the worst example.
Okay, I'd ask the class to come up with. I'd ask the class to come up with means ask class to suggest. What is the word for to suggest? To come up with. To come up with the worst examples of adaptations. So the answer is worst. How do you spell? W-O-R-S-T. Well done. T-Y? Okay. किधर है वो? Chundi. Okay. All right. Let's go on. Present Rachel Malkow's ideas. Prepare some dash. Some means answer may be plural if it is countable. And prepare. For prepare, they can use the word make. Now, you're going to listen to this. Present Rachel Malkow's ideas. And whatever they say about that, prepare some dash. Make some dash. Or you need to make few. For some, they can use the word few. Let's see.
Next, I want to talk about Rachel Malkow. I came across something on the internet about her work on film adaptations, and I was thinking of showing some film clips to illustrate her ideas.
Will you have enough time, though, both to prepare and during the presentation? After all, I doubt if you'll be able to find all the clips you want.
Perhaps you're right. Okay, well, I'd better do some slides instead, saying how various films relate to what she says. That should
Okay. Yeah, I'd better do some slides. I'd better do. I'd better do means prepare. I'd better do. Okay? Now, first there was a trap. Listen to that.
Next, I want to talk about Rachel Malkow. I came across something on the internet about her work on film adaptations, and I was thinking of showing some film clips to
I was thinking of showing some film clips. So you might be thinking prepare some clips and all that. But listen.
illustrate her ideas.
Will you have enough time, though,
Will you have enough time though?
both to prepare and during the presentation? After all, I doubt if you'll be able to find all the clips you want.
Perhaps you're right. Okay, well, I'd better do some slides instead.
Okay, instead of clips, I'd better do some slides. Okay, question number 24. Discuss relationship between adaptations and dash at the time of making the film. Relationship between. Underline the word relationship. And for that, you know which word will they use? Connection. Absolutely. Once you learn it, you are going to find it easier. Connection between adaptations and dash. Now, they may not use the word between, but when they use the word connection between one thing and the other one, you'll find the answer. And adaptations is already written.
Next, I want to say something about how plays may be chosen for adaptation because they're concerned with issues of the time when the film is made.
You mean things like patriotism or the role of government?
Exactly.
You missed it. Okay, no problem. I'm playing it again.
Next, I want to say something about how plays may be chosen for adaptation because they're concerned with issues.
They're concerned with issues. Adaptations, why they chosen for plays, and they're concerned with issues. So that is relationship between adaptations and issues.
Of the time when the film is.
Of the time when the film is. So at the time of making the film. Answer is issues.
Next, I want to say something about how plays may be chosen for adaptation because they're concerned with issues of the time when the film is made.
You mean things like patriotism or the role of government?
Exactly.
Okay.